Hello everybody. So today we're talking about the sun in the sign of Cancer. And what does it mean when you have sun in Cancer in your birth chart? Well, before we begin, I'll just talk about my Vedic Astrology services. I do offer Vedic Astrology readings and stuff. So if you want to check out my Vedic Astrology readings, go here to vincent.thunderwizard.com. You can check those out. They are 30% off. That sale will be ending soon, pretty much. So yeah, Vedic Astrology readings. You can read more about what I have to offer there at vincent.thunderwizard.com. And then I also have the self-transformation challenge, the self-transformation course. Basically, it's a combination of Kundalini Yoga, Qigong, and meditations that you can do. It's designed to be done like morning practice. There's a morning practice, a noontime practice, and a nighttime practice. And yeah, so that basically allows you to open up your meridians and stuff like that. So let's get on with the video here. So we have sun in the sign of Cancer. So to understand this better, we need to understand what the sun means. So the sun is the ego, the soul, the father, the government, authority. It's also things like health and career. So the sun is the soul, the light of the soul. This also can represent the ego. When you're not living out of your soul, living from your soul, you're living from your ego, basically. So yeah, it has to do with father, because, and like father, government, authority, those things like that. And the moon has to do with the mother and emotions and the internal world, but right now we're talking about sun. So sun would represent father, moon represents mother, sun represents government, authority, health, and career. So yeah. Alrighty, so let's see here. Alright, so we have sun in the sign of Cancer. So, well, what is Cancer? Cancer is ruled by the moon. It's the mother, the fourth house, it's the natural, like, mother, the sign of the mother, stuff like that. It's things like emotions, emotional nourishment, and things like that. So, like, for example, like how your mother would nourish you emotionally, how she would care for you emotionally. It's kind of like that. It's a watery sign. It's it's ruled by the moon. It's watery. It's, the Cancer has to do with the tides, the high tide, low tide, and all of that is controlled by the moon. What does the moon do also? The moon waxes to full and wanes to new moon. So it waxes and it wanes, it grows to full, and then it goes to new moon. So these are all these are all to, like, references to show you that the moon is always moving. The sign of Cancer is always in flux. It's always changing. It's never the same. It's it's always, changing, flowing, moving, stuff like that. And so just like our emotions, because we can't have an emotion all the time. we can't feel a certain way all the time. So this represents that change, that flow. So this is the sign of Cancer. So what happens when we have the sign of the sun in the sign of Cancer? Well, the sign of Cancer also represents the home. It represents family, represents the mother, represents real estate, things like that. So like your home life. So what happens when we have sun here? Well, we have this, it's like, well, the sun represents like your soul, and it's your soul's self-expression also. So you might be a very emotionally expressive person, or like you might feel very emotional with this sign. Again, you would have to look at the placement of the ruling planet, which is the moon. So you would just have to look at that and see where that's placed, because that's going to give you like the feel of this placement. So the sun is the ego, the sun is the soul. So I mean, you could be very like into your emotions, like you could be very very emotionally reactive and very, like your ego runs on emotions. So I would say watch out for, the emotional reactivity of, when you think somebody's saying something about you, but and you like overreact and you scream at them and you yell at them and whatever. Like that's that's what sun in Cancer would do. It would kind of make people feel, like well, it would just be very emotionally reactive, basically. So you gotta kind of watch that, because it can get out of hand, when you think you've understood somebody, saying something about you, saying something bad about you, but it's not really that. Like, things can easily get mistaken and taken out of context and whatever. So you just gotta watch your emotional reactions to things, because I could see the ego getting very, like very emotionally carried away in this position. This also represents the soul. So, that's like the ego kind of thing that I just mentioned. That's on the negative side of things. The soul is on the positive side of things. So how the soul would react here or behave here is like, having like this strong emotional connection with other people, and being able to connect on an emotional level, and stuff like that. It's connecting at the emotional level and things like that. So yeah, and that could be really good, because in this world, a lot of us are afraid to show our emotions and afraid to talk about them and let them be heard and understood. But with this placement, you would actually strive after like an emotional connection with somebody, and you would be able to express your emotions, and to because it's oftentimes that we hide our emotions, thinking that we're the only one that's feeling a certain way, when that's not the case at all. A lot of people feel how we feel a lot of times. So we kind of hide it, but really it's common. It's a common human thing to go through. So anyway, Alright guys, I'm back. The sign, Sun in Cancer, also represents the relationship with the father, with your father. And so how this plays out is, it's like, it's a very, like, your father could almost take the place of your mother kind of thing in this placement, where, and again, this can be bad or good. It can be, positive emotions, it can be negative emotions, but you'll have to really look at the where your moon is placed and look at other planetary aspects and stuff like that in order to get a full, well-rounded grasp of this position. So this can relate to your relationship with your father. It can also represent, well, talking about your relationship with your father, like, it's you could be very, very emotionally close with your father. Like, you could feel like you can open up to your father emotionally, or your father could, it could go either way. Your father could be very, very emotionally reactive and very emotionally expressive and kind of take it to a negative place, but it just kind of depends on the other planets and stuff. But generally what I've found with this position is that the father is very loving and very very emotionally open, very emotionally like receptive and there for you kind of emotionally. So yeah, with this position, your father would be very good with emotions and stuff. Okay, so then we talk about government and authority, and what does that mean? So government authority in this position would be you could I don't know, you could be very, well, actually, let's, like, you could work for the government in some kind of like a hospital, or you could work in as like a nurse or something with this position, because it's very caring, very nurturing, very motherly nature. Career, you could be very good with like Reiki or things like that, some kind of a healing profession, some kind of a, like, even hospice, or like kind of reminds me of like a nurse, or hospitality, like hotel management and things like that, taking care of people, taking care of guests, massage therapists, things like that. And it could also be where you're the sun also relates to your health, and so you gotta kind of watch your emotions when it comes to your health, how your emotions are playing out in your health. Like, for example, if you don't pay attention to your emotions, if you neglect your emotions, then that'll have a negative impact on your health. So you gotta kind of watch, make sure that you're taking care of your mental and emotional health as well. So yeah. Alrighty guys, so I guess that does it for this video. We will talk to you next time, and go make sure to check out these links that I have here and the links in the description too. I also have a page on Gumroad where you can buy my courses, guided meditations, and mantras at gebotheshaman.gumroad.com. Go here to vincent.thunderwizard.com if you want to get a Vedic Astrology reading, and go here to patreon.com/gebotheshaman if you want to get my course on Qigong, Kundalini Yoga, and meditations. And also I have my Shamanic life coaching available there too. Alrighty guys, so we will talk to you next time. Peace.